Hello, welcome again to Gearjunkies TV and a new video. Today we're going to take a look at the Moog Matriarch paraphonic synthesizer. A new Moog always excites me as they are well known for their sound and build quality. So when I unpacked the Matriarch, it already felt good. Now that's a totally subjective way of judging it, but to me it just looks and feels good. So what's the Matriarch? It's a semi-modular analog synthesizer with a 4-octave keyboard. There are no presets, instead it comes with a set of patch cables, as there are many control voltage patch points to be found on this one. So let's take a look at the panel. It is, according to Moog, based on their 70s modular designs, and all the sections therefore have different colors. From left to right, we have the ARP section, which features an arpeggiator and an elaborate sequencer with 256 notes per sequence, and you have 12 sequences that you can record and play back. Then there's a modulation section, which is controlled by the pitch and mod wheels, as well as with a separate LFO here. And this can be applied to cutoff, pulse width and pitch amount. Then there's a utility section here, which features 2 attenuators and 2 multiples. That's for the patch section that you can use throughout the synthesizer. Then there are the oscillators. There are 4 of them, each with an octave setting and 4 different waveforms, being sawtooth, triangle, pulse and pulse width variable pulse width. Then there's a mixer section, which features all the 4 oscillators and the noise generator. There's a filter section with 2 separate filters that you can use in series, parallel or stereo, as we will see later, with a cutoff and resonance for each of them. And the first one can be set to high pass, low pass, and the second one is low pass only. Then there's a utility section again, which is more or less similar to this one, but with a separate LFO. So you have in total 2 LFOs for this synthesizer on board. Then there's the envelope generator section. This features separate envelopes for the filter and the amplitude, both with the attack, decay, sustain, release, which is nice that the sustain has a slider and all the others are knobs, obviously. Then there's a stereo delay, which features parameters for time, feedback, spacing and mix, and you can synchronize it to the sequencer rate. And finally, there's an output section which features volume, VCA modes for the different for the 2 VCAs that are inside here, and the paraphony switch with multi-triggering, which we'll take a look at later. On the back we have a USB connection and MIDI in, out and through. And there's a big section here of CV and gate controls for the arpeggiator, the keyboard, which also has sustain and expression pedal inputs, the stereo delay, and finally the audio section with separate outs for left and right, instrument inputs, headphone, and a Eurorec level compatible output section. Let's take a look at how the oscillators behave. The Moog Matriarch is paraphonic, and it has settings for 1, 2 or 4 note voicing. In that case, you will hear a single, 2 or all oscillators when pressing a key. And this can be combined with multi-triggering. In that case, each new note press triggers the gate of the oscillator. When switched off, all gates respond only after all keys have been released. Combined with modulation section and sync option, this creates interesting sounds. Let's take a look at how that works. This is a single oscillator mode. We switch to 2 voice. Open the filter a little bit so we can hear more of what it does. So let's play an arpeggiator and press the hold so we get this. Enable the sync. and you can hear that the oscillators are synced 2 by 2 and controlled by the modulation wheel, which applies some pitch amount to the two oscillators that are synced, so you get this nice phasing waveforms inside the oscillators by playing it paraphonically with two voices. So one voice, two voice, and if we switch it to 4, we hear all the 4 oscillators at the same time with multi-triggering or without multi-triggering. So the Moog Matriarch focuses more on stereo sound than many other monophonic analog synthesizers. Looking at the signal path, it becomes stereo at the filter stage. These can be set as 2 filters for left and right, and after the filter the signal is fed to the delay section with 2 channels finally going through the 2 VCAs at the end stage. The VCAs can be set to envelope mode, split or drone, and in envelope mode they both respond to the amp envelope. In split mode, VCA2 responds to the filter envelope, and in drone mode there's a continuous sound which can be controlled with the VCA CV inputs. So let's take a look at the spacing option, both present in the filter stage and the delay stage. We'll play a small sequence. Now I'll turn up the spacing, and you can hear the filter going into stereo mode, where the cutoff is being controlled by the offset here. So you get separate separate frequencies for both filters. In the stereo delay section, we get the same thing with spacing, and it can be applied to the time parameter. So you get different timings for left and right channels. Let's turn up the mix first and see what it does. Playing a little bit with the filter and with the spacing of the delay. Put in a little bit different timing. And we'll set it to drone shortly to let you listen to that, how that sounds. So, what do we think of the Matriarch? I must say I was pleasantly surprised. The oscillators and filter produce a very warm, rich sound that really reminds me of the old modular Moogs. But Moog have also really thought about the control voltage possibilities. Every section has a complete set of CV options, so you could really look at this being separate modules that you can integrate with, for example, a Eurorack modular setup. But even if you don't use the patch cords, the Matriarch has a lot to offer. In that case, it performs well using the integrated arpeggiator, and the sequences and the paraphonic modes create a very nice layer of sounds. In the drone mode, you can use it for proper sound design, ambient soundscapes and much more. So it is an excellent, versatile musical instrument. I forgot to mention that the Matriarch comes with a nice, well-written paper manual in which all functions are clearly explained, and there is a nice patch book available digitally. In a future video we will build some of those patches and create some of our own to show you more of the nice sounds the synthesizer makes. Thank you for watching. Did you like this video? Then give us a thumbs up, and if you want to see more of our channel, please subscribe, and we'll see you next time.